All right, IDEA, which is a federal law protecting students with disabilities, requires identified students to be placed in their least restrictive environment. Currently, the Hamilton County buses are busing students to their next nearest school to segregated classrooms. East Ridge Elementary has several of these programs, according to this question. These programs have had very little accountability, and the students there are wasting away. Many students in these programs spend these days watching movies, and if in a good program, spend minimal time being educated or being taught to read. With an old program that does not teach anyone how to read but focuses only on sight words. Here comes a question, what will you do as a school board member to ensure more accountability in special education? Mr. McClendon, we'll start with you.
This is something that is near my heart. My grandmother drove a special education bus for probably 10 years. She's like my second mom, LaFay Goddard. She is at East Ridge Elementary. She's a special education assistant. And that's a whole other thing. Our special education assistants make like $9 or $10 an hour. And the stories that she tells me are just, what they go through and what they do for these kids. It is a lot, and that's a different topic. But I think that we need to have more accountability, and I've seen this at Ooltewah. We had this, and when my position when I was there in our leadership classes, we went down there and we kind of mentored and we spent time with these students, and a lot of times we walked in there and they were watching a movie or they were doing something, and then we would come in, they turned the movie off, and we would do some games or whatever with them. And I think that's something that the board needs to look at. I think we need to make sure whoever at central office, if we need to add more to that staffing position or that department, that's what we need to do. I think they're just not there they need to learn, and they want to learn. That's the thing. When I've interacted with our special needs and our special education students, is they have a drive to learn and they want to. It's arts, they're some of the best artists I've ever seen. I think we need to look at how we can give them the best education they deserve and need as well. And so I think it kind of all encompasses that we just need to do more. We need to be more accountable. We need, as a board, I want to know what is going on in these schools. If something like that's happening, call me, my cell phone number, and I'll try to go to the bottom of it. And I'd probably speak for Mr. Testerman in this as well. But it's something that we have to look at, and we need to change and make sure there is accountability and transparency, and that these kids are getting the education they deserve.
I have served in schools. When I was at Westview Elementary School, I had the language impaired class. And this took children from 3 years old who had consuming language problems. They came to my school. But in their IP, we always worked an opportunity for children to be out of that separated class that you mentioned, to have contact with other students during the day, as many hours as possible. That could be reading class, it could be PE class, and do not underrate PE as being extremely important with developmentally delayed children. It's extremely important. You learn so much with your hands and with your body. The kinesthetic element of children learning has been proven over and over. Library. The ability for a child just to interact with other students as you move through a building is tremendous. I saw children that came in as 3 years old at Westview. We were only at that time a K-3, but their lives were changed. They had friends that developed in those early years that went on to middle school and to high school. It should be the goal, and it is my goal, to see that every child has an opportunity to be placed in the least restricted environment as possible. I was principal at White Oak Elementary School. White Oak Elementary School was a specialized school in that hearing impaired children were bused to my school. Most of these kids, the only way they could communicate is through sign language. May I say, when we had M-Team meetings and the leaders of our special ed program with the county schools, it was not an option. Children had to be mainstreamed into the classroom. They would meet together for an hour, maybe an hour and a half during the day as a group. They would meet again for go over homework. We had children who had assigned to them aides that would follow them from class to class, that could sign with them, that followed them all the way through high school. They were mainstreamed. We have some great success stories. There are things we need to do to improve, and again, I'm willing to support whatever it's going to take for our children with special needs.